In any NAP file, the notice of loss is where we really begin to see the need for strong documentation in COC minutes. This tool will help guide you through a few special circumstances that might not apply to every claim, but are very important to have thoroughly documented. We're going to begin by entering the cause of loss as it appears on the CCC 576 notice of loss. You'll see that when I click on that field, this little dialog box populates that says cause of loss, enter disaster date or events as it appears on Form 576 Part B, Item 5A. Periodically throughout the tool, you will see those dialog boxes that pop up, and it's just to give you a little bit further information or clarification about what's expected for those fields. We'll see that the crops affected are squash winter, that the beginning date of the disaster was July 1st, that the ending date was July 8th, and that the crop loss first became apparent on July 15th. In this case, we're going to say that there was no prevented planting claimed, and that the crop is hand harvested. As soon as we say that, the 72-hour notification of loss was given timely late field will populate, and that's because a hand harvested crop is required to be reported, or damage is required to be reported within 72 hours of the end of the disaster event or when the crop loss first became apparent, whichever is later. So in this case, we're going to say that the producer submitted the 72-hour notification of loss late, and that the county committee made that determination at their meeting on the 30th. The COC determined that the late filed 72-hour notification was acceptable or unacceptable based on procedure in paragraph 576. In this case, we're going to say that it was acceptable because it was provided at such time that we were able to get a loss adjuster out there to verify the wet conditions in the field. Again, they made that determination during their July 30th meeting. The producer intends to harvest the crop. We're going to say, yes, he intends to harvest the crop. You can see here in the dialog box, though, that if the crop was destroyed, we would select NA. So if there was no crop to harvest or to abandon, we would just say NA. But we're going to say, yes, the crop is intended to be harvested. The county office contacted the loss adjuster to schedule the initial inspection. We're going to say yes, and that they did that on the same day that the producer came in to file the notice of loss. The county office contacted the loss adjuster to schedule the final inspection. We might not know this yet at the time that we're doing the form, so we can leave that blank for right now. The producer signed and submitted the 576 notice of loss. We're going to say yes, the date that they did that. The COC determined that the 576 was filed timely or late. We're going to say timely because, again, if they notice the damage on the 15th, they have 15 days from that date before it's considered late filed. Since they notified us on the 20th, they are timely filed notice of loss. This field NA is remaining blank, and that's because we were not prompting it to switch. If we had said that it was late filed, then it would ask, the COC determined that the late filed 576 was acceptable or unacceptable. COC determined the cause of loss was eligible or ineligible. We're going to consider the excess moisture precipitation claim and say that it was eligible and the date that the COC made that determination. Once again, we're saying 7:30. Now it's asking that for excess moisture precipitation claims, what did the COC actually review? This is where you would enter things like weather reports, soil types, and topographic maps. Down below, it's asking the COC approved or disapproved the 576. They're saying that they approved it and the date that that approval was made. Since we said approved, this NA field does not populate, but if we were to say that it was disapproved, we want to give a reason for why that claim was disapproved. Comments, you can enter whatever comments you like down in this section, but it will not be populating into the COC summary. This is a working document, so that comments field is more for your personal benefit. When we click on COC summary, we see some of the information we had previously entered and the dates that those actions occurred. And then we see that the 576 notice of loss section is also populated now. So we see that the 72-hour notification of loss was filed late. That determination was made on 7:30. That the late filed 72-hour notification was determined as acceptable, and that was also determined on 7:30. You'll see again that we've got fields that do not apply. And if we wanted to remove those, we would simply get rid of that hyphen. Now the warning is if you remove those hyphens and you go on to do another field at some point, when you enter that information, you might see that it's not populating the way you'd expect it to. What you'd want to do is go back and select all once again, have the form fill out completely, and then remove the blanks or the hyphens, and that will populate all of the information. Hope this tutorial was helpful. If you have any questions, if you run into any technical problems, or if you have any suggestions for how we can make this tutorial a little bit better or the tool a little bit better, please submit them to me and I will work on them as quickly as possible.